Greetings to Eco Bounty News, the news with the Tinge Mutiny, and just following on from our series, going after the establishment. Today we'd like to talk briefly, not too much, but we had to touch on the subject of the coronation and why it's a gigantic step backwards for Australia. Yeah, you know, we're in the stream of time now. There's been enough accumulation of knowledge and data to understand where nations stand, which direction they should be going, and how to reach that point. Now, in becoming a independent, sovereign, strong country worthy of existing in the world today, you have to be discerning. You have to be able to mull over past experience, over the treatment of people, treatment of Indigenous people, the progress of creating a sustainable economy, in providing jobs, looking after the ecology. It requires, that you're on the ball and you're in touch with reality. And sadly, here in Australia, what I see from the mainstream in supporting a coronation of a foreign entity is not really acting in harmony with knowledge and discernment. Now, if we look back in the stream of history, we can see that the complete narrative that was given to us in our education system as a child, anyway, I'll speak for myself, we were never told the actual relative facts about the settlement, or some call invasion, of Australia. We were never told about the trampling of rights of Indigenous people, destruction of their culture, and genocide of families, breaking up of families, the theft of resources. This is not something covered in the education system in Australia. And this is what we have to be careful with regards to the present and which direction Australia wants to go in the future. We have to make sure that the establishment, the powers that be, are giving us the full facts that can that is not a twisted narrative to support some ailing empires, selfish, materialistic, or power games. Okay, this is not in relevance with the world today. It's not in relevance with the majority of the Earth's population, and it's not in relevance with the direction humanity should be going. Now, I know a lot of Australians here will say, yes, but we have a heritage with, the UK, with England, and people amuse themselves, they amuse their own sense of humour by saying that by supporting this coronation is supporting some kind of heritage or some kind of ancestry. But this is really a really twisted sort of narrative. This is a twisted reasoning, because if you actually look at your own family's history and look at the types of people that had to settle Australia from the UK, from England, you'll find that they weren't free people. You'll find that they weren't treated with civility and justice and with the regard. They weren't treated humanely. They were slaves. They were convicts, brought here on the whimsical, smallest misdemeanors and smallest petty crimes, purely to further the interests of a monarchist situation. Now, in this day and age, this sort of mental attitude is not compatible with reality. It's quite outdated. It even looked outdated. I never watched it, but it looked outdated. It looked archaic. It looked like a gigantic step backwards for humanity. Okay, now whether certain countries or empires want to have their own monarchists, that's up to them. I'm not going to weigh into that. But as regards a big, bold country that should be utilizing all opportunities to provide solutions for humanity. Of course, solutions to build bridges with our Indigenous brothers and sisters, and of course, taking into consideration the actual present demographics of nationalities in the country. Being tied to a foreign empire is not the way to go. Anyway, that's my thoughts on going after the establishment with the coronation. I think Australia, I looked at some of the news reports, and some of them are even pleading for Australians to give some kind of allegiance. And what I say to those establishment media outlets is to go to any large city in Australia, have a look at the faces of the people, go and have a look at the workers, go and have a look at the people that are building the country, keeping the country going, and ask yourself, does a foreign empire in the United Kingdom have anything to do with these people? And if you're honest with yourself, you'd have to say no, nothing. In fact, when I was on the beaches growing up in Sydney, I would often ask myself that same question: what has this distant empire got to do with us growing up on these beaches? If you're honest with yourself, go and walk around the cities, go and walk around any large town in Australia and see if an empire, a colonialist sort of power has anything to do with these people. And if you're honest with yourself, you have to have a resounding no. So anyway, we just want to leave it at that for our series, going after the establishment, the coronation, why it's a gigantic step backwards for Australia and the world. And we'll just leave it at that. Green Estate Eco signing out.